Sitting on it. You're sitting on it correctly.
My guy's got that one.
Maybe that's better. Yeah. I'm trying to compensate.
Are we okay?
What are your names again?
I'm Ben.
Ben and Heather. Okay. And you've met Cassie before? Well, Cassie.
Quality Roma. Well, thank you for being here today. If you'd just like to quickly introduce yourselves and say what your role is and some content that you outside.
I'm Alex. I'm the director here, Alex Foxon.
And I'm Julia Dunn, and I'm acting head of exhibition.
Okay, our first question is, what is the best exhibition you've ever seen? So we'll start with Alex.
I can't answer.
Very difficult. Do you want me to go first? Okay. Well, I just saw an amazing exhibition called Documenta 13, and it happens every 5 years, and it's probably the most important regular exhibition in the world, actually. And to really see it properly, you need about 5 days, but I had only 3. And it's really impressive. You don't like everything, but it's an amazing kind of snapshot of what's happening, but also what people are thinking about again. And it occupies a huge area in a place called Kassel, which is in the middle of Germany. So I really recommend it, but it takes time.
Yeah.
Which we've got time to do that now.
I was going to say I recently saw the Animism show in Berlin, which I thought was a great show. I don't think it was necessarily my favourite show. I can't think of a favourite. I think it changes all the time. But this was a really well curated, informed exhibition.
What is animism then? Yes.
That's not fair, Alex.
Isn't it fair?
No.
We're going to have a show about animism later on, actually, next year. You know, animism is where people believe that the natural world is full of spirits and spiritual life, like a tree might have a spirit, and so on. And this is about whether there's a kind of new kind of animism now where we can talk to machines can talk to us, you know, the natural world communicates with us in new ways.
It was quite a different take on the show in Berlin.
Yeah, it will.
Be very much more contemporary sort of.
Yeah, and it's by an artist called Mark Leckey. Have you come across him? Really interesting guy. He won the Turner Prize a few years ago, so he's quite a major figure. And it'll be striking, I'd say.
Yeah, no, it's going to be quite visually powerful.
Sounds exciting. Okay, our next question is, where's your favourite place to be in Nottingham? So give it to Cassie first.
I think Nottingham has a lot of good cake shops. So I can sample those, yes. And I think they're very nice. I also I'm only new here, so I've only been here about 2 months. So I haven't ventured out of the city centre much yet. But I did go to Wilton Hall and the grounds there at Park on one of the few very nice days we had here. And I thought that was beautiful, really nice day. So that's, really my favourite place.
Should take some deep doors and outside.
Yes, next time I'll go better prepared.
How about you?
Well, I like the cake shops in Nottingham too, and I like Willerton Hall too, so Cassie gave a brilliant answer. Besides this place, which is my very favourite place in Nottingham, for sure. What else do I like? I really like Broadway cinema. I like the atmosphere there. I like a lot of the films they show. I like the fact it's just up my street, so I can just wander off. It's like watching big TV. And what else? I like the Lace Market buildings. I think it's a great, it's really good architecture. What else? I mean, I like eccentric things like the trip to Jerusalem. The fact there are caves in the back. And, but there's a lot. I like Paul Smith's store. I wish he always had a sale on. And I like Cowes, but I've discovered they have something like caffeine in the food, which keeps me awake all night. So I'm a bit miserable about that at the moment.
So what would you say is your best clothing moment you've had in Nottingham? We'll give this one to Kathy first.
Probably in my cake shop.
I rephrase the question, so what's the Christmas cake you have?
No, I think actually I'll actually go for Woollerton Hall on this one because I actually met up with some very old relatives that I haven't really seen for a long time, and I had a very pleasant afternoon. So I think that probably has to be my complete family expression.
Not sure really, there must be so many over the last 5 years. It's hard to focus on any of them. I mean, some of the things I've really enjoyed have happened here, and maybe there have been certain discussions in our public programme, or launches. I really like our launch nights and the parties that happen after. So I'm talking about us again, right?
No, but I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
Especially when you've been, I think you often have quite movements and committed yourself to.
Yeah.
So that actually brings the right environment.
Yeah. And I'm showing my age, but I thought the Pet Shop Boys gig at Splendor the year before last was a great moment. I mean, it was so pro, and they have so many tunes. But looking at the Woollerton Hall, you got stuck on Woollerton Hall. On one side, and the stage on the end and the sun setting and so on. It was just a very nice Nottingham moment. And I think I've also enjoyed going out on weekends to things nearby in the countryside, whether it's Southall or on the canal or Butterfield in Peak District, that kind of thing. To me, that all feels like part of being a Nottingham feeling.
So like venture out the weekend.
Yeah.
So throughout today, would you say you've experienced a quality movement?
Oh, we need a definition of quality moment, don't we?
But anything that...
Maybe you should start on this one.
I think it's probably your turn, Alex.
Anything where you sat and gone, that like something that
Actually, I think we had one thing that went really well this morning. I mean, when you've been chasing something and you get the email that you want.
Oh,
That's a good
and that one, yes, I definitely had that. And that what was really nice about that was when it, is when you open up your emails and then there's one that you've been waiting for 2 weeks has arrived.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a quality moment.
And my quality moment was when Cassie told me that we'd got this Japanese, 19th century Japanese print that we've been looking for a long time. And it's very specific and it's a bit hard to find, and the British Museum couldn't lend us theirs. And
we've been looking quite far and wide, and then we found it quite near to our residence.
yeah. So exactly that is one kind of quality moment when you get good news in that you've worked towards, and it's all a bit up in the air whether it's going to go your way or not. So I agree.
Okay, our next question is, does there have to be a certain situation for a quality moment to occur? Give that to Kathy.
Does there have to be a certain situation? I suppose we touched on that before. I think it's going to be, it would be around the state of mind, isn't it? I would imagine that I think the bigger quality moments are ones where you kind of invest with yourself. It's not something that just happens to you. It's something that you're already part of the
Yeah, no, that's a nice interpretation. I was wondering, what quality moment is and how to define it. I think it also needs to be, as it suggests, like a moment. It also needs to be a period of time when you're sort of blocking out other distractions. And I don't know, you feel maybe close to your emotion, what you feel your life should be, and who you think you should be, and you know, valuing the people around you and so on. So it's a bit of a kind of break from routine, I think.
You can get the quality moments where you're just walking down the street and somebody does something really nice, which I think at some point you can just think is somebody else actually creating a quality moment for you. But I think at the same time you're probably giving off a certain vibe at that point, which actually enables it to happen, rather than if you're sort of walking down the street and you're sort of mood stress. Because, you know, you're having a bad day. Usually, I think, you know, you find the quality moments when actually walking down the street with a slightly good day and you're being far more receptive.
Yeah, I think it's a bit reflective.
Like, you think about it afterwards, when you like, when you focus on it, I think that helps towards the quality moment. Like, where it occupies your mind quite a while.
Yeah. There's maybe the luxury of being able to see the bigger picture, but in a good and positive way. Not too often we're focused on this, then that, and the other.
Yeah.
So do you think quality moments are easy to come by? And start with Alex and this one?
To come by. Well, you know, probably not, otherwise they wouldn't seem exceptional, you know? And quality moments suggest something a bit exceptional, right? So, I mean, hopefully they come about relatively frequently. But if they're going to be special, you know, I guess it's not necessarily an everyday occurrence. And, you know, I think sometimes it's about organising one's time so one can have them, you know, often with people one loves, you know, and, you know, doing things that perhaps have nothing to do with work. As much as we're pretty passionate about the kind of work we do, you know, so I think it's also about creating that time, you know, making the conditions for that time.
And how about you? Do you agree?
I think I do in part. I suppose, you know, again, it's defined quality moments. So if you have a life full of quality moments, then you might only consider your ones of higher quality to be quality ones. But you would, I think you can get a lot of quality moments. I think if you're open to it, then there are a lot of quality moments. But you just might not appreciate them as much as you should do. Maybe.
Yeah. Could be just spending a few seconds with a cat or something. Stumbling across a funny looking dog. That can just make you pause and think, oh, well that's just great. We live in a world with something like that.
I know watching my dog relax on the sofa and makes me relax.
That's your quality
moment,
yeah.
Sits on the sofa like a human being.
Animals behaving like humans.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, our next question is, if you could ask anyone what their quality moment would be, who would you ask? So that's Alex.
Wow. I really don't know. I really don't know. Alive or dead? Fictional. That's a bit like the question, who would you like to meet? Isn't it? Really?
I think there's also a sort of answer honestly, or, you know, if you think about who you would probably gain the most from, or whether you just actually go, well, who's the, you know, person who's off your head, or,
I don't know, I find it tough to answer, honestly. We can maybe go back to it. Have you?
I don't have a meaningful one that I probably should answer, so I would probably want to just answer that say no, because she is for me the icon.
But do you think it's also, I mean, you also partly saying that because you know she was really unhappy, so, you know, what would be a quality moment for someone so iconic and yet unhappy?
Yeah, I think there is something about you'd only ask that question if you thought she was something, if she was a ghost town and the truth and everything, and not something that she was saying it sounds like she was being interviewed when she was alive. So, I'm sure we'll be
Come back to that at the end.
I don't know. I mean, we did a show based on a philosopher called Michel Foucault, and I think he would be pretty interesting to ask virtually anything to these days, including what his favourite quality moment was, and partly because he ended up writing towards the end of his life on kind of how to live better, those kinds of ideas, So maybe he would have a kind of whole philosophy of it. So come up with another not in contemporary related answer.
Kind of moved from Willard to Keep to the contemporary.
Yeah. But Marilyn and Michelle would be brilliant together.
Yeah.
That would be much better than either or. I'm really fascinated by unusual mixes of people, and I would just let them talk about it, and I'd be happy.
Just listen to the conversation.
Yeah.
So would you say quote moments can be repeated? Give this one to Cassie.
Do you mean like a stage no. It's like if you had an anniversary and you made a really good quality moment and you thought, oh, for next year's anniversary I'll do exactly the same thing. It wouldn't really work, would it? So that's what you need to know. But I'm sure you can have, a bit like the dog enjoying the dog likes that could be good.
Well, Andy Warhol had the same type of soup every day for his whole life, Campbell's tomato soup. So perhaps for him, repetition was the ultimate form of pleasure, because it was somehow comforting or whatever, and he knew he couldn't better Campbell's tomato soup.
And
some people take a lot of security.
I think do over and over again, still get a lot of pleasure.
But I think for most people, quality moments are partly about contrast, no? And there's some things that they satisfy, but I think maybe for them...
I think there's something to me that aren't about formulas, so if you knew exactly what to do, then it wouldn't be practical as well.
Okay. Our next question is, what makes an event memorable? So I'll give that to Alex first.
That's really philosophical questions. Difficult abstract questions. Makes an event memorable. Well, I think it's got to be new and different for you as the one experiencing it. Somehow, no? It's got to somehow enlarge your experience by being somewhat new, somewhat different. And perhaps on the kind of quality moment aspect, I don't know, a moment where everything is somehow aligned. All the positive elements come together, your mood, a look at the world, who's there, what's happening. But I suppose for an event to be memorable, it could also be terrible. Of course, it could be traumatized by something. So it could also be something very, very shocking that's hard to recover from. So there's the traumatic side, there's the kind of pleasurable side, and then there's this kind of maybe new and different for you experiencing it, because whatever it is could be very banal to someone else.
I suppose it depends on what you're around and who you're around, because you can't really just depend on yourself to make it memorable. You have to have other elements of the day.
I was going to say, well, for me, it's about presence, your own being present yourself. I think a lot of the times we need to really, I'm always worrying about maybe what happened earlier or what I'm doing tomorrow, that I will let the moment slip by without getting the most enjoyment out of it. And when I do it, because I'm absolutely present in that moment.
Yeah, I think so. this answer, and has something to do with quality moments. You know, you can forget the worries about before, and you're not sort of planning and worrying about what's going to happen. And I think that's quite rare, really. I don't think we live those kinds of lives on the whole.
Yeah. But that's a really easy question now. If you were stuck on a desert island, who would you want to be with?
I think I have to say my partner. Yeah, it's boring answer. We'd probably kill each other after both quite competitive. Probably spend the time sort of arguing about the best way to construct a shelter, lots of fun graves and things, but yeah,
Someone very, very interesting who would, besides my partner, someone very, very interesting who would nevertheless kind of respect space, personal space. You know, endless fount of knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I could. And entertaining, funny, but respecting personal space, because we only have the island. I'm not sure if I can do that. We'll have to come back to it.
Okay, well, our next question is, which 3 celebrities would you invite to a dinner party? So we'll start with Cassie.
this probably comes to Alex's point about the myth. I mean, it depends. I actually really hate our fascination with celebrities. I think it's been contemporary. I would think I would really like to have somebody, sort of 3 people, who you could have a really good discussion with, like my cousin Lau. He talks about, you know, it's something interesting. He can really make you think about assumptions and question what the choices you make today in relationship to actually being sort of goodness. I don't know, a couple more people along those lines.
And who's popular ones? Your
Really? Okay.
I really have to. How's that the most popular one? Tell me that's the one.
Top 3 at least, I think.
That's amazing. What is it from the team?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was one of the most interesting.
yeah.
Difficult one.
Yeah, I think we have to also have a feminist. There was somebody I heard at Play Festival, or actually the Town of Lancaster Festival the year before, I can't remember her name. She was very good. And I never remember. Just too much
Anna
more
again.
Go for the ultimate
And probably people that are fascinating me, I know are probably pretty grumpy in person. You know, like I grew up a hero worship of Bob Dylan, for example, and still totally admire him. But I know he would be so grouchy, you know, and I also worship the Smiths when I grew up, you know, and I know Morrissey would be really grouchy. But still, I wouldn't, you know, if someone said, okay, they're here, go and say hi, of course, I would leave at the chance. So yeah, I would risk the grouchiness. But I think in terms of pleasure of conversation, no, I mean, there'd probably be people I know who make really good conversation. Some which are good friends, some which aren't. Someone who's been here who I had a great brunch with in New York fairly recently was a guy called Wayne Costenbaum. He's a poet and cultural critic, and he's the funniest guy and totally, intellectually a live wire.
Yeah.
And so, it's like a conversational feast.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And for celebs, modern day celebs. It'd be very good to kind of, I'd love to know what certain people who, it's a cliche, but take someone like Shakespeare, what the hell does he like as a person?
Yeah.
There probably could be a few politicians I wouldn't mind, just to actually see what they act, to actually get behind what they say and actually get a sense of the real person could be interesting. But that's if we would.
I think that goes
You're
back.
just going, oh my god, I can't think of anything worse.
No, it'd be kind of interesting meeting
It would.
Lenin or something.
Yeah.
What was that guy like?
Well,
And-
like the cameras, everyone puts a front on.
And there's some people whose work is, in a way, so much. I'm sure you'd be disappointed meeting any of these kind of great minds because, people also have a really ordinary side to their life. But, when you elevate them and when they're of such importance,
Even someone like Che Guevara in Cuba, he's still so idolised. It'd be interesting to actually know who is behind that character and that is now become such a figure.
yeah, it'd be interesting to meet these people who kind of magnetize people around them. Like, Rasputin magnetized people around them. Fine word, So what was that like being around? I'm not going to be around it very long, but I don't know.
Yeah, but and actually, if you sort of, if you're able to look back in history and actually with, obviously with hindsight and whether then if you were next to these people who actually changed history so much and actually whether you
I'll
would
have to shoot some of them.
or whether you actually sort of changed your opinion.
Don't do it.
Yeah. It'd be interesting.
Yeah. What was Elvis like? Everyone was just so crazy about it. And would he be really disappointing in the flesh? Really quite a fairly ordinary guy.
You're each other at the hotel.
I don't know both. What do you think? You don't want to guess.
I think you'd get a completely different person.
Yeah. I think one's relationship to fame really changes when you first get to know someone that's famous and then you realise it's actually, okay, what they do is great, but who they are is really pretty ordinary. And that totally changes your... And I think when I reached that age, I could no longer heroicize anyone, in quite the same way.
So, who is your favourite artist?
That's a question. I'm really sorry, but I refuse to answer that in every instant when I'm asked it, and I'm answered frequently. I just don't think you can answer that question. Is that?
Yeah. I think if you really care about art, you can't answer it. It's. I think you can say what your favourite thing is of something that you don't really think about very much. Or you can say what your favourite artist is in the past hour.
Yeah.
But I think to actually say would suggest you're not as involved as you are.
And also say maybe it's just not a static thing. Not in a on a personal sense, it's not a static thing. It's also just juice.
Yeah, it's true. It's always changing. What you're interested in is always moving in and out.
And everything's so different, isn't it? So it's quite hard to pinpoint something you have a favourite in many different subjects. Like a group of favourite artists. All depends.
Well, I think art is so varied. If one was to say, okay, out of this kind of art, who's your favourite artist? You know, who's your favourite minimalist? That kind of thing.
I
You
also
know,
think,
or
you know, if